What if I told you that parts of another person might be living inside you right now? And no, I'm not talking about science fiction. I'm talking about a deep, cellular connection that can literally last a lifetime. Today, we're diving into the incredible science of what's known as microchimerism.
Okay, let's break this down. Think of your body as its own little world, and all your cells are the citizens living in it. Now imagine that for many of you listening, there are these tiny, quiet visitors who arrived a long time ago and, well, they never left. So who are they, and how in the world did they get there?
I really want you to think about that for a second. Is it actually possible that you are carrying the cells of another human being inside your body as you're sitting here listening to this?
And believe it or not, for a huge number of people, the answer is a straight-up yes. This isn't some metaphor, it is a biological reality, and it has a fascinating name.
This whole phenomenon is called microchimerism, and it's a process that reveals this hidden cellular bond that's most often found between a mother and her child. It's pretty amazing. So here's the basic idea. During a pregnancy, a very small number of cells manage to cross the placenta, moving back and forth between the mother and the fetus. But here is the truly wild part. They don't just vanish after the baby is born. Nope, they can actually settle into the mother's tissues and just live there. For years, sometimes even for decades.
Now, before you start thinking you're part alien or half someone else, let's get some perspective on the scale we're talking about. It's an incredibly small amount. This quote says it perfectly. It's like a single drop of water in an entire swimming pool. So their presence is super subtle.
Let's use an analogy to make this really click. Imagine the mother's body is a huge, bustling city. During pregnancy, a few tiny travelers, these are the fetal cells, cross the border and arrive in the city. But they don't try to take over, City Hall. They just find a quiet neighborhood, settle down with the locals, and live there peacefully for a long, long time.
All right, so whenever you have a concept this mind-blowing, you are absolutely going to get some myths and misinformation popping up around it. So let's take a minute to clear the air and separate the actual science from the fiction.
Okay, myth number one, and it's a big one you see online, that a baby's cells can somehow control the mother. This is just not true. Remember our swimming pool? A single drop of water isn't going to change the temperature of the whole pool, and these few cells just don't have the numbers to take over an entire body.
You've probably seen this one floating around social media too. The idea that DNA from past sexual partners can somehow remain in the body. Let's just be super clear about this. There is zero, and I mean zero, scientific evidence that supports this. The microchimerism we are talking about is specifically a result of pregnancy. So does this mean you're not you anymore? Not at all. Your personality, your memories, your identity, that's all yours. Think of these cells as just quiet passengers. They don't have a map, they're not driving the car, and they definitely can't change your fundamental DNA.
When we use a word like foreign to describe cells, it can sound a little alarming, right? But in this context, it's a totally natural and incredibly common part of pregnancy. For the overwhelming majority of people, it's a completely harmless biological quirk. Okay, so if microchimerism isn't about control or changing your identity, then what does it do? Well, that is the million-dollar question that scientists are really digging into right now. And the answers seem to point to a kind of fascinating, cellular double-edged sword.
The research suggests a real duality here. On one side, it seems these little guest cells can sometimes act as tiny allies, actually helping the body. And on the other side, scientists are exploring some potential, though I have to stress, very rare, links to certain health conditions.
So, let's talk about the cool stuff first. This is where it gets really interesting. Some studies have shown that these fetal cells can actually travel to spots in the body that are injured and act like a tiny repair crew. Seriously, they've been seen helping to mend damaged heart tissue, pitching in with wound healing, and even reducing inflammation. It's almost like having your own personal, built-in stem cell treatment.
But for a complete picture, we do have to look at the other side. Some studies have suggested a possible connection to certain autoimmune diseases. But the key thing to know here is that the evidence is really mixed, it's not final, and a lot of studies contradict each other. The most important takeaway is that the vast, vast majority of mothers with these cells never develop any related health problems.
So, where does that leave us? When you put all the pieces together, when you look past all the crazy myths, and you focus on the actual science, what's the big takeaway from all this?
What we're left with is this really profound biological truth. Microchimerism isn't some sci-fi movie plot. It's a real, physical reminder of one of the deepest connections humans can possibly have. A connection that's literally written into our very cells.
So I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you think about the bond between a mother and her child, remember this. It might be so much more than just emotional or psychological. It could be a literal, physical connection, a cellular echo of the child that stays with the mother for the rest of her life. How does that change the way you see that relationship?